Welcome to this, your daily 180 Bible study. Thank you so much for being with us today, and I hope you'll join us every day. This week we're talking about what has God said about marriage. We need to listen to what He says. Most of society is not interested, but we need to be interested. If you want a true life of happiness and fulfillment, you need to listen to what God has said. And this is certainly true when it comes to the subject of marriage. Back in Matthew chapter 19 and verse 3, the question was asked of Jesus, is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife for just any reason? I don't like her anymore. I like this other woman more than I like my wife. No, that's not legitimate. No, that's not right. You can't do that and be pleasing to God. Is there a reason to get a divorce? God gives an exception clause, yes. But you can't do it just because you don't like the way she cooks anymore, or you just don't like the way she looks anymore. You know, 20 years ago she used to be pretty. Now she's not pretty anymore. That's ridiculous, and it's contrary to the will of God. We see in the second part of verse number 5 and the first part of verse number 6 that there is a wonderful thing that happens in marriage. And the two shall become one flesh, so they are no longer two, but one flesh. There's a joining that takes place there in marriage. When a husband and wife come together, they're made one. And we can see that illustrated to us in children. Let me ask you this question. How do you divide one child? You can't do it. And the idea of having problems in your marriage and thinking that the solution is divorce is like having a splinter in your hand and amputating your arm at the elbow. It's ridiculous. Well, furthermore, we see that God says He has a standard that He expects to be upheld. Look at the second part of verse number 6. Therefore, what God has joined together, let not man separate. Can man just decide that he's going to break the marriage vows? Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, the state can recognize it as well, but it doesn't mean that God recognizes it. Now, we're going to look at tomorrow the fact that there is an exception clause, but it's not just because, I'm tired of this marriage. I'd like to be single. No. Over in Malachi chapter 2, beginning at verse number 13, a couple of things are important for us to understand. Do you know who your best man was? You may have not invited God, but God is the author of marriage, and God was there. He was a witness between you and the wife of your youth, according to Malachi 2, and God was the best man at your wedding. You need to think about that. Join us again tomorrow.